Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our second day, day number 2 of the Wild Wisconsin Winter Web Conference. This is our 11th annual. We had a great day of sessions yesterday, and I am sure it's going to be another great day of sessions. I'm Jamie Machik with the Wisconsin Valley Library Service, and I am moderating the marketing track today. We also have the sustainability track happening at the same time today. And assisting me is the awesome Jean Anderson with the South Central Library System. Thank you, Jean. We're so glad to have you here. So our presenter for this session is Trenton Smiley, and Trenton is the Marketing and Communications Director of the Capital Area District Libraries based in Lansing, Michigan. You might have remembered that he has spoken for the conference before. He also presented at the WWWWC conference, I'm going to say 2019. I think that was the year.
I think this is the third one for me.
Okay, third one. Awesome. So can't wait to hear about what he has to share with us and how partnerships can improve our marketing efforts. So Trenton, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Good morning. So we're going to kind of speak about partnerships today, 5 ways that you can use partnerships to improve your overall marketing efforts. And I just wanted to start by saying, no matter the size of your library or the type, partnership marketing is truly the great equalizer. It's not purely based on budget nor the amount of marketing staff you have, but rather it's really leveraging the value of libraries that we pretty much all have. So all of our libraries have things of value that will help create these strategic partnerships. So let's go ahead and get started. So pretty much the definition, the marketing related collaboration with another organization that helps both parties achieve their marketing objectives. So we can no longer rely on a single method of promotion and to help, I'm sorry, let me start over. We can no longer rely on a single method of promotion. And we really need more than one way to really tell our stories and to win back users that we've lost during COVID. For instance, back when I started over 20 some years ago, you could rely on the newspaper. But now I'm in the capital city of Michigan, and our newspaper, the amount of pages is just ridiculous now, maybe 8 pages, 10 pages, the library the newspaper now has. And really on the digital side of things, everything is really done by analytics. So if it's good news, most of the time it doesn't make it to the digital platform. They're really looking at things that people will click on. So if it bleeds, it leads type concept now, where it's really hard to really rely on just the media to really tell our story. There's also a lot of competition for people's attention and time nowadays. So we really have to build our own promotional network, something that we can control the narrative and different partnerships that allow for us to connect with the different target markets that we're after, or target audiences that we're after. So really the concept I use is this. I really leverage the marketable resources of my library in order to maximize my efforts. That's either paid and unpaid. There are some examples that I'm going to share with you this morning that are things that don't cost us anything, but I still have a marketing budget that I use, but I use partnership marketing as a way to maximize the amount of resources that I have. I don't necessarily have an open checkbook, so I need to really do the best I can to make those dollars last. You remember the old saying, let your money work for you? Well, it's kind of the same concept in regards to the resources that we all have that are marketable resources. And I'm going to kind of talk about those in a few moments. But each year, my department, for the most part, generates at least $150,000 worth of goods and services and added exposure through partnerships. So what are some of these marketing resources, or these marketable resources that we can use to really use to leverage and to create these partnerships? The first one, collection, programming, and services. This category is really a true strength of ours. It provides us with endless opportunities to connect with different types of partners. For example, we have Hoopla here at Capillary District Library, so we use that particular collection, the music aspect of it, to create a partnership with a local music festival. And what we did is we created a special playlist within Hoopla that would allow for us to headline some of the artists that were appearing at the music festival. And then what we did is we kind of worked along with the festival to help them promote the festival, as well as we secured some tickets for the festival to use as incentives for our, we call them members, we don't necessarily call them patrons here, but our members, as a way to create some excitement around the particular event and to drive circulation of music from the Hoopla collection. Another example that we used for collection was we have a Library of Things collection here, and one aspect of it are yard games. So what we did is we partnered with a local TV station. They were airing the Summer Olympics. So we use that as a joint partnership to create awareness of our Library of Things collection, especially our yard games, and at the same time cross-promoting their broadcast of the Summer Olympics. Another example of a particular service that you could use to kind of use as a way to create these strategic partnerships, Summer Reading Challenge. We tend to use that as a way to generate sponsorships from local businesses. We also use it as a way to create partnerships with touring shows. For instance, we had Jurassic Park was a touring show that came through the area. We also had Disney Aladdin, that was a musical touring show that came through the area. And both of those we touched base, and we created partnership opportunities with both of those organizers as a way to create awareness of both their shows, and at the same time incorporating our collection and creating excitement around our collection in both the show to generate circulation, as well as creating awareness of both of the items that were part of the partnership agreement. And we'll go into that a little bit later here, giving more of the details on how all those worked. Another resource, digital and physical footprints. And what I mean by that is, for instance, any particular library is a great opportunity to be used as a marketable resource. I mean, you have a lot of opportunities that you can offer a partner, as well as, like, for instance, I guess, would be for them to maybe have a certain book display that would have maybe their signage attached to it. Or we have digital monitors in our branches. I have 13 locations, so my physical footprint within my county is a lot larger. So I use that as a strength and an advantage for me to attract other partners. We've attached programming to a particular partner as a way of creating a way to get folks to know about that particular partner. In exchange, then we're receiving things like money or goods or services and so forth. The digital aspect of that is we do a lot. We have a large digital presence here, and I'm not necessarily speaking of social media, but we have placement of ads on other sites. We do site takeovers on news sites. We have ads placed on third-party sites. So that's what I mean when I say digital footprint. So there's other ways that I can utilize to push out messaging and to include a partner if that was part of what the particular agreement was. Expertise. And I mean this in regards to library presenters and staff. In the past, we've done special publications. Our staff has helped us come up with special lists that we use as ways of securing partnerships. We've had staff go out and do presentations, like a book review, a book talk is something that you could utilize. We have a business librarian, so that's an expertise that we can definitely leverage. We have folks who also just talk about the library, and some of our partners just want to be able to have that community contact. So we utilize those type of things to secure these agreements. Also, we utilize library presenters. In most cases, a lot of like your businesses or the other nonprofits don't necessarily have the type of Rolodex we have of folks that we can bring in, to do magic shows, music artists, and so forth. So we use those as a way to secure these type of agreements. Later, I'm going to show you an example that I have where we did a partnership with a local home and garden show. And as part of that partnership, what we did is we actually brought in an author who wrote books about plants, house plants. We brought in a person that talked about decorating and so forth. These are the type of programs that we would have in our branches every day. But in this type of arrangement, we just took them out to these different events. And that was part of what we provided as our part of the partnership agreement. Now, this is everything we all have. People love libraries. They trust us. So we have goodwill. There's a lot of businesses that want to be in business with us in regards to supporting our mission. For instance, I'm going to be showing you later a promotion we did with a car dealership where they wanted just to be attached to something that was good for the community. So we all have this. So our mission and our goodwill and our trusted name is truly one of the strengths of libraries, and it really would help us create these strategic partnerships. The only thing that I would probably say is just to make sure that, especially for this particular resource, is that you really choose your partners wisely. You don't really want to necessarily tarnish your name partnering with someone who doesn't necessarily have a good name within your community. Marketing channels. So I kind of touched on this earlier when we were talking about the digital and physical footprints. Marketing channels are ways that I can get my name out if I'm coming into a partnership with the library. That could be your homepage, that could be your social media channels. We have an e-newsletter that we put out that we can include someone in. So any type of marketing channels, we do some paid ads here, we can include that. So for instance, when we have sponsorships or partners for our summer reading challenge, one of the things that I throw in as one of the benefits for entering into the partnerships with us is the ability for them to be included in our ads. So definitely marketing channels are a way for them to also get their name out and to let folks know that they are in partnership with the library and they're supporting whatever, the particular services that we're providing. And then finally, your patrons and your supporters. For instance, Capoeira District Library has over 70,000 members. That's definitely something that would gather attention for anyone that wants to go in business with you. They want to get in front of as many people as possible. So really creating a nice one-sheeter that explains pretty much all of these resources would be something that would be really helpful. And we're going to kind of go through that in a minute of how that process would work. But if you could say, you know, we have 20,000, even if we have 10,000 users, would be something that's impressive. And it gives the person who is, you know, coming into this with you the opportunity to get their name out within your audience and vice versa, to be honest, because this is something that we want both parties to benefit from. So really part of what we want to do too is to get ourselves in front of audiences that we don't necessarily have. So there's different types of partnerships, and I saw earlier when Jamie posed the question, there were a number of different ones that some of you are already working with. The first one, that businesses. Typically when I do businesses, generally we're looking for financial support. So in the way of sponsorships, we also partner with businesses for us to get giveaways. So that could be in the way of a service, that could be in a way of goods. We also want access to their customers and just content sharing. For instance, we have a podcast here. So sometimes if we're trying to get certain type of content, then we'll reach out to a business. It's the first of the year. A lot of folks are looking at their finances. So perhaps maybe we would reach out to some type of reputable financial service to bring someone in to talk about and to give tips on personal finance. So those sort of things would kind of fall under the types of things I would look for under the business category. And just kind of going back for a second, when I mentioned giveaways, we like to keep our folks engaged, like engaged on social, engaged in the library. So what we try to do is we really create opportunities for giveaways that are tied to maybe them answering a question on Facebook or them checking out a particular title from a collection. We kind of use those type of things to drive usage and engagement. One example that comes to mind is last year during Halloween, we partnered with a business that runs a scary house. You know, one of the scary houses, I guess, is real popular in the area for that. So what we did is we tied that to circulation of our graphic novels. So they gave us tickets for folks, free tickets for folks to use at their scary house in exchange for them, checking out a graphic novel. And what we did is we created a promotion that ran for a certain period of time. And by entering into this special drawing, they would just, pick a title or check out a title, and then they would just provide that title and their name for them to become part of that drawing. So we used it as a way, again, to build circulation, and it really went over well. Community events, and we'll be talking more about this a little bit later, but we have a number of big events within our area. We have Juneteenth event that happens every year. We have the county fair. I spoke about the music festival. We have a women's expo that happens every year, a home and garden show. These are really great opportunities to increase our marketing reach, which is really important. During COVID, I think a lot of libraries saw how important it was to be able to have some type of reach outside of their four walls, especially when things were kind of locked down. So we really tried to incorporate that into our marketing strategy to really build a large marketing reach. And what we do with some of these community events is we enter into partnerships where we're on site and we have access to all of their attendees. Like, for instance, we're going to be doing the Women's Expo in February, and it's over a three-day period, and they typically have about 10,000 folks in attendance. For us, women pretty much make up a lot of our membership, so it's definitely a target demo that we're interested in. So we use that as an opportunity to get in front of those folks, to create awareness of our of our services. We also do library card sign up. We do giveaways and so forth. So we're really kind of making the library part of the overall lifestyle for that demo. So in community events really provide us with an opportunity to do that. Government agencies, typically we do these sort of things as a way. We have what's called Cattle Cares. It's kind of anytime we do something that's in the way of more social, like we've done things with the health department, we've done things with Secretary of State. So these are just kind of some opportunities for the county. We've done things with the county or different municipalities. These are a little bit different type of partnerships. For the most part, we don't necessarily get too much back, but it does allow for us to show that we're a great community partner, and it's more of great PR is what the payback is for these type of partnerships. Media probably is the biggest type of partnerships that we do. We use it for sponsorships, like for instance, for our summer reading. We always seek out media sponsors as a way to create awareness of the summer reading program or challenge. We also use the media to help us in positioning the library. And what I mean by that is, for years, I've always heard different library marketing folks say, wow, we just want people to think of us as not just a place for books, but we're so much more. So what we try to do is we really use the media as a way of positioning ourselves differently for the public. So for instance, I mentioned earlier how we did a partnership that tied to the Summer Olympics. We also do things when they run the Grammys, or if they run the Academy Awards. We use those as opportunities to kind of showcase other areas of the library. So when we partner with them for the telecasts of their Grammys, then we use that as a way to tie that to our music collection. Of course, our Canopy movies, our movies through Hoopla. We also use that for the Academy Awards and so forth and so on. So media plays a great part in what we do. I also use the media to help us with our content sharing. We have a podcast that we have, and what we've done is we've entered into a partnership with the media to allow for us, a particular station here, Channel 10, that allows for us to have our podcast on their website. So what they do is every month, then we upload new podcasts, and then they share it on their website with their viewers. They also have a OTT app that folks can use on their smart TVs and so forth, and those podcasts are also available there. They also help us promote the fact that now that their viewers can access this particular podcast from the library. So we definitely use that as a way, again, of extending our reach beyond just our four walls and beyond pretty much our platforms. We also partner with other nonprofits. For example, there's a science center here that we do joint programming with. That definitely helps reinforce our commitment to providing STEM-based programming. We also get tickets from the Science Center to use for summer reading, especially when the themes are science-based. Another nonprofit that we started really doing a lot with probably the last 3 or 4 years are churches. I wanted to find a way in particular to really reach out to my Black community. And the Black church is really the centerpiece of the Black community. So we started an outreach effort to churches, and we had meetings with the different pastors to really find out what the needs of their congregations are. We did that twice. We had a meeting at one of our libraries where we kind of sat down and had some nice dialogue. And then we had another one at a local restaurant. There's also, pastor forums and other type of things that the city offers that we are a part of as a way to really stay connected. We also went into a partnership with a local gospel station because we found a need that a lot of churches were doing some wonderful things within the community, but a lot of folks didn't know about it. So as a way to kind of show what we provide and to help them get the word out about things they're doing, we created a church community spotlight. These are a series of ads that run on this gospel station, sort of like a audio calendar. And it highlights some of the things that the library provides, as well as some of the local churches. And then we're attached to that. So it really shows that we're supporting their efforts and we are, again, part of the community. And of course, schools. We have a program here, actually an initiative called Student Success. Pretty much we work with all the school districts within our service area where we provide students with library cards. They're really connected to their student IDs, where they automatically are given the cards, but they can opt out if they want. Schools really play a large role in helping us with that initiative. Currently, we serve about 20,000, more than 20,000 students within our service area through this initiative. Of course, we also, do outreach to schools. We also partner with them on different activities that they provide, like readathons and so forth. So definitely schools play a major role in what we do. I think the only thing with schools sometimes it's hard to deal with is just there's a lot going on within the schools that kind of make it difficult sometimes for us to connect and to really strengthen our relationship, but we continue to try to do so by reaching out to them and offering them ways and that we can support them and showing them resources that are available through the library and getting their help in communicating those resources to the students and to their families. So Jamie, let's just take a minute. If there's any questions to this point, we can take those.
Yes, there was one that came in. Someone asked if you could share the policies and agreements that you use for partnerships, particularly those with for-profit organizations. So I don't know if that's, you probably can't pull something up right now. If there's something you could share with us,
Sure.
Post session today, we could post that on our resource page, or could you highlight a couple things now? Something
Sure.
that you always include in one of those policies or agreements?
Sure. We have a policy in place, board policy. Pretty much what it talks about is just making sure that we are partnering with folks who have similar missions. Of course, we wouldn't partner with a cigarette company or a beer company. There's also things in place if by chance something could happen with that partner where maybe we don't want that to tarnish our brand, then we have some procedures in place to get out of that particular partnership. And we also have something in place for sponsorships in regards to, how the whole process would work, who would be in charge of what. And again, just making sure that we are putting things in place that protect our good name and our goodwill with the community. But I can definitely get that over to you.
Awesome. Do you ever have staff or people that might be uncomfortable approaching a church or anything like that when it comes to partnerships?
We have a lot of librarians who do a real good job of communicating with folks within their community. I really think it's at the level of support that you're looking at. If it's something major, then yes, I think that's when people get uncomfortable. But if it's something where it's just a simple trade where, I get, a couple of Slurpees from 7-Eleven for summer reading. I mean, I think they're more comfortable with that sort of thing. I try to be honest with you, be a part of all those type of communication because everything that I showed you here has value. And sometimes folks who aren't really experiencing that may give away the store. So we have to make sure, and it's got to be equitable. I mean, it's got to be something, okay, we're getting something too. We can't just be happy that they want to do something with us, but it's got to serve some type of purpose and allow for us, like the definition stated, that we are meeting some type of objectives.
Awesome. Thank you. That's all that has come in so far.
Sure. And we also have, and I'll share that with you too, Jamie, so you can put up just kind of showing the layout of once we have a partnership in place, it just kind of spells out, they get this, we get this. It's just kind of a document that we use, and I'll get that to you as well, where you can post after the presentation. So 5 ways partnerships can help. I kind of touched on these, but we're just going to kind of go through these. I mentioned before, reaching new audiences. Partnerships can definitely put you in a position for you to reach other folks. And really, it's, I would say, the most cost-effective way to do it, because you don't necessarily have to use money to do this. It's just a simple trade. And we also talked about the importance of extending your marketing reach. So I mentioned the expo. It would take me a great deal of money to reach that many folks within such a short period of time, 10,000. Plus, it's a particular audience that I'm looking for. Partnerships sometimes will put you in a position to reach audiences you currently aren't serving, or you're having a hard time connecting with. We've just went into a partnership with our local NPR station because we really want to do a better job of reaching out to the Latinx community. So what we did is they have an actual podcast that's in Spanish, plus they have a block of programming that is in Spanish. So we've kind of created this partnership where Cattle is a partner in the content development of the podcast, which they then share on the radio side of things. It gives us an opportunity to connect with that community. We send some of our staff on there that speak Spanish to kind of, promote our different services, and it's really a win-win situation. And it shows that we are serious about connecting with that particular community. I mentioned before helping increase engagement. For example, I mentioned we call our folks members, not patrons. So as part of an initiative to really try to raise retention among our users, because we found through data that sometimes folks use us for one particular thing and then they just kind of go away. We really want to continue to provide them with ways to stay engaged with us. So we created a member rewards program similar to what you would see with a credit card company or whatever, where we utilize and leverage our members, our amount of members that we have, to secure incentives. Like, for instance, I'm going to be showing you later, we offer discounts on Broadway shows. We offer discounts on concerts. And all of this is through partnerships with companies that, want to be able to get in front of our members as a way to say, hey, this is coming to town, you should check it out. But we go a step further by giving them something of value by offering a discount, and they would receive that because they are a part of the Cap Area District Libraries as a member. So that's what I mean by engagement. Again, that could be giveaways for summer reading. I mentioned an earlier example of ways that we kind of use those type of things to impact our circulation. So there's all kinds of different ways that you can use for the engagement portion of it. And another thing that we do, we call them member meetups, where what we do is we work with local businesses. We did one last summer where we want meetups as a way to really get our members together and to show that they're part of a bigger thing, and to also to show value. So we did a member meetup at an ice cream shop, and we had several hundred folks come out, and we worked it out with the business where the particular ice cream that was being featured, we got it down for a real cheap price, and then we just covered the cost of it. But at the same time, it drove traffic into this business, which is a great thing, because then we can go back and use that in our messaging that we support local business. So it's a win-win for all. And this kind of touches on that, providing more value to our current patrons or our current members. Beyond just all the great resources that we provide in the way of collections, services, and the like, we also provide things beyond that. Like I mentioned, discounts on shows. We try to find other ways to really bring that value home. So we want to continue to provide ways for them to stay a member of CADL, or Cap Area District Libraries. I mentioned this earlier, helping in the creation and sharing of content. I mentioned how one of the TV stations is helping us to promote and to share our podcasts. We've done back in Christmas season, we've been doing a special radio. It's a Christmas Eve special story time that we've been doing. This was the 3rd year that we've done it. It's through a partnership with a local radio station where one of our librarians go on. They do the night before Christmas. It plays right on Christmas Eve. We've had special guests on there. This past one, the governor of Michigan was on there. Before that, we had a cast member from Disney's Frozen was a part of it. So again, we kind of use that partnership as a way to kind of share the type of things that happen in our buildings every day. Also, we use that same content as a way to provide something of value to our partners. So I like to say we're kind of creating inventory that can be used in this regard of really securing partnerships. And of course, you're reducing marketing costs, because a lot of what we do is through trade. I used to tell this story, and Jamie, you probably remember this years ago. I kind of started out in the radio business, and radio and TV media, what they do best, besides, the programming aspect of it, is they leverage what they have. They leverage their inventory. So for instance, if a radio station wanted a station van that, would have a wrap on it and have the name of the radio station on it, most times what they would do is they would trade it with a local business. So in exchange for that vehicle, then that business would receive commercials, a certain amount of commercials based on what the value of the vehicle is. And that's kind of what we do, is we really try to utilize ways that we give our partners value back of using some of our marketing resources, tapping into our expertise and so forth, rather than us using money. So that's kind of the ways that we do that and reducing the overall marketing cost. So forming a partnership. The first thing that you definitely want to do is identify some of the strengths and weaknesses of your organization. So for instance, I mentioned before, we have a large footprint in our county. We have 13 locations. That's a strength. We have 70,000 members. That's a strength. A weakness perhaps is, we don't have a large presence in the Hispanic community. So that's something that if I was looking for a partnership, how would I be able to do that? How could someone help me get into that area? Or we want to do more in the Black community. What way can a partner help me, assist me in meeting that objective? You kind of have to kind of take a snapshot of your organization and determine things we do well, things that will be marketable, and opposed to things that are weaknesses that you truly want to build some type of marketing strategy to try to fix. The next step, establish your marketing objectives. For example, we're doing, like I mentioned before, we're doing something with the Home and Garden Show. The marketing objective is that to really be in front of folks who are homeowners. My particular library, we're funded 90% of our funding comes from property taxes. So folks who pay property taxes. So us being in front of and showing value of the library to folks who own homes at a home and garden show is definitely a marketing objective. So when we did that, that was in mind of really what we wanted to accomplish. So when we go to these shows and we show that, hey, we have resources that help with your interior decorating, or we have a seed library. Did you know the library had that? When we're in that particular venue, really shows that the library is more than books, and it really shows more value to that particular clientele. And then the next thing you would do is you would identify possible partners that would help you meet some of the marketing objectives that you identified. And then you negotiate your terms. So let's say, for instance, for the Women's Expo that we're doing in February, some of the terms we would include promotional messaging about the expo in our e-newsletter. In exchange, they would give us free booth space. So those are some of the things that we kind of negotiated, and we're probably on year 12, I think, with this particular show. So we kind of spell it out. You get, I get, we count it, we sign it, and then pretty much it's in place. So for that particular show, you know, our logo appears on all the promotional material. So that helps us with positioning, people seeing us in areas that they wouldn't necessarily expect us to be. We have a booth space for 3 days. Generally, booth space run at that particular show, I think it's like $600-700, but we don't have to pay that because it's part of this trade. And we have access to that large number of folks. So that's kind of how we spell out the terms. And from year to year, we may adjust it depending on what our objectives are for that particular year. And of course, then you launch the partnership and then you evaluate. Sometimes partnerships don't really produce the outcomes that, you know, that you want. And that's okay, because then you just have to either there's a way to adjust kind of the way you went about it, or sometimes it's just something that you might just have to walk away from. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of give you some examples, some actual examples of things we've done through using partnership marketing. The first partnership example, we increase marketing reach through partnerships with, and I kind of mentioned this before, an expo and home and garden show. We've been doing the expo, like I said, for about 12 years. The home and garden show we've been doing, I think, for probably about 3 years. The home and garden show is in March. And as I mentioned, the Women's Expo is in February. And both of those are pretty much 3 and 4 day events. We typically get free booth space for those. We typically provide some type of expertise in the past. Like, for instance, we've had chefs come in. We've had our podcast out there once that was broadcasting from the show. We include both of these events in some of our marketing, like I mentioned before, e-newsletter, annual guide. We give out tickets. So we really use this, and I really like to use these type of shows is what I call lifestyle marketing, to really show how the library fits your life and not necessarily just come in for the reading aspect of it, but other ways that we can help. And these really allow for us to do that. So right here is just showing one of our booths here. You see a lot of traffic into our booth. We actually did a promotion around our presence there. You see it says free tote bag that you received when you signed up for a library card. Like I mentioned before, we did do some library card solicitation. It's our 25th year. This year we're celebrating our 25th year. So what we're doing is we negotiated where it's going to be a library day on their biggest day is Saturday. So we've created a special tote that has the logo of the Women's Expo on it. And then it has our 25th year anniversary logo on it. So we'll be giving those away to the first 1,000 folks who attend this Women's Expo on Saturday, which like I mentioned before, is probably their biggest day in regards to foot traffic. Here's a picture that we took last year. This was at the Home and Garden Show. And this is from a expert. Actually, I think she's from Wisconsin, Linda Myers. She's a gardening expert. This is the type of program we would typically do in one of our branches. It's really nothing really different. The only thing is we said, okay, we'll provide someone for your main stage. So really what we did is you really use the same funds that we would use to bring them to the library, but we took them to the show. And you see the number of folks who are there. A lot of these folks who didn't even know we offered this type of programming. And then our involvement with the show is recognized. Our sponsorship of this particular speaker is recognized in all of the promotional materials. So again, it helps us get the word out. And they generate about 10,000 plus for their show each year as well. Here just shows kind of what it would look like on the website. This is something that we're doing this year. And you see our logo placement here, and just kind of shows how we're recognized. And we're recognized here on the website. We're recognized in a publication they put out, some of the ads that they put out, and all of this is trade. This is all trade. Okay, example number 2, securing goods and services from partners to help increase our patron engagement. Now, I mentioned before how we use some of those goods and services for driving circulation and so forth. But there's another initiative that we actually created. We had an issue, our newsletter, e-newsletters, we were seeing a drop in the open rate. So we wanted to do something that would increase that open rate, because for the most part, we found that our e-newsletter really drives a lot of views to different collections that are being highlighted and so forth and programs. So what we did is we created a concept called Friday Freebies. And what we do is each Friday, we have some type of giveaway that we secure. Either some we purchase ourselves, but a lot of them we secure from local businesses. For example, during Thanksgiving, we were giving away pies from a pie company. We've given away tickets to Broadway shows from one of our performance venues. So each Friday, we're announcing what the Friday freebie is. And we kind of created this because we wanted to start conditioning people to open our emails and see what the Friday freebie is. Since we started this, which we started last year, we've increased our open rate about 20%. And now we're having folks that are saying, hey, how do I sign up for the newsletter? I mean, people want to be a part of this. They don't want to miss out. So this is one way that we've used partnerships to generate engagement with some of our marketing. We also use this again as a way to support local business. So this is just one way that, again, we're using the incentives that we get through partnerships, I should say. Here's another example. We have a minor league baseball team in town. They're called the Lansing Lugnuts. And we did a promotion with them this past summer, which they also included a partner with Marvel Comics. So since we have digital comics, we entered into a partnership with them where we were giving away some of these special jerseys to some of our members. And again, we tied those to different things that we were trying to get them to do. For example, we tried to really get build engagement and circulation of our comic collection through Hoopla. And then there were some other promotions that we ran during this promotion. We also had presents at a special game where the players wore these special jerseys. And we also went a step further where there were special Black Panther socks that we gave away to the first 1,000 folks that came to the ballpark. So this is really a cool promotion, and generally it started just with Marvel and the ball club, but we've entered into it, and we're going to be going into our second year with it this summer. So this is another cool way that we are using incentives and partnerships to really build awareness and excitement. I spoke earlier about really creating additional value for our folks. Here's an example of a collaboration with a business partner to provide our patrons or our members with some added value. I mentioned that we work with some performance venues to provide special offers on Broadway shows. So Wharton Center is the primary promotional venue here in the Lansing area. It's on the campus of Michigan State University, which is probably about 10-15 minutes down the road from us. As you see here, this is a special portal. And what we do is we have a link on a special page, our member rewards page, where folks, our members can click on it and they go to the special portal just for members of our library. And then there's shows that are offered that they get special offers on. So that's one way that we use to really create that additional value. And then beyond that, what we wanted to do is we're probably, I would say, a little bit more than an hour from the city of Detroit, which has a ton of different performance venues. So we kind of did the same thing with those venues. They all are under 313 Presents. That's kind of the overall branding, but there's a number of different venues that fall under 313 Presents, including Little Caesars Arena. That's kind of where the Pistons play, the Tigers play at Comerica Park. And again, this is a special portal that our members go through and they get special offers on seats. And in addition to this, to kind of create awareness of the partnership, we tend to get free tickets that we give away on occasion to both of these venues. And there was a time, I think it was last year, we were doing a special movie premiere of, I think it was Minions, as one of our member meetups. So 313 actually provided us with tickets to give away for that particular event as part of our partnership. So again, this is another way of just showing some additional value associated with being a member of our library.
Trenton?
Yes.
We have about 8 minutes left, and there were some questions that came in. So
sure, let's go ahead.
How far, and we probably won't have time for all of them, but that's okay. But I just
go right ahead.
Give you a heads up.
Let me just go to a few more here.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, I just want to give you a heads up as to where we are at. So
sure, I'm gonna do this next one and then we'll go to the questions. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right, so here's a partnership that I'm really proud of. It actually started in during COVID. A local radio station had just launched a nationally syndicated radio show, DD in the Morning, and this is the time when everybody was staying at home, so it was kind of a bad timing. But we reached out to them and said, hey, we want to help you promote your new show. And in exchange, we want to create this special content that would air on the radio. So what we did is we reached out to the national show and the radio station, and we have what's called now DD's Weekly Downloads. And what she does is she goes through, our selection team does a tremendous job of flagging out the titles, and she voices these special ads that run probably 5 or 6 times a day on the radio station, Monday through Friday. And there's actually a special web page that folks can go to on our web page that has all the different titles that she has featured on air. So this is something that didn't cost us a cent. This is straight trade. We help them promote the show occasionally, and then they run those spots, and she does the voiceover for those for free. So it's a win-win situation. So, but let's go ahead and just do the questions then, Jamie. I want to make sure I get to those. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. How far do you go in promoting a partner event, especially when they're a for-profit partner or event? I worry about crossing the lines as a public entity.
We really try to keep those within a particular box. I mean, it's nothing that we're walking around with patches on our arm like NASCAR or anything. We don't go that far. We try to keep them within a certain framework. It might be a newsletter, and it's nothing that we're actually doing a commercial for. It could be simple as dealer ABC is supporting summer reading, and here's a link to their website. I mean, it's really a soft sell.
Sure, sure. Do you use budget or taxpayer money to purchase from specific businesses, like the ice cream example, or do you have a friends group that underwrites that?
We used our regular budgets for that. That would be no different than us buying incentives for summer reading.
Okay. When you partner with an organization, do you work out marketing plans with them, or do you do your thing and they do theirs? So we're currently partnering with an area club for a community mural. I think it would be great for them to do promotions in addition to us using our marketing plan. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you need to really be upfront from the start of what you're trying to accomplish and seeing what they're trying to accomplish. That was kind of part of the process. That's one thing that really angers me sometimes is when we find that we're doing more work than our partner is. So it's got to be something that is put into writing, and there has to be agreed upon plan in place for this joint venture.
And while we answer these next few questions, Trenton, do you have a contact slide at the end that you could skip to, if you don't mind, just so people can see that?
I just got to show you this real quick, Jamie. We gave away a car. People always joked about me to say one day Trent's going to give away a car. And we did.
How did that happen?
We did. We worked with a local car dealership where it was one of the things where it was based on goodwill. They wanted to be attached to something with goodwill for their summer reading challenge. So we had this car that they were giving away, and we promoted it pretty much the whole entire year. We attached it to summer reading. We also attached it to library card sign up. They paid for free ads for us for both of those. And then the car, the winner didn't choose to take the car, but she took the payout, which was about, I think, $4K.
Awesome. What have you found to be the best way to approach local businesses for partnerships? Do you go into the physical business and introduce yourself? Do you email? Do you call?
All of the above.
Okay.
But I would have a one-sheeter in place again that would spell out, give them a little bit of insight into what you can provide. That gets people's attention, because a lot of people are always going there trying to ask for things, but you're trying to give them a way to also help, create awareness of their business. So I would definitely do a one-sheeter that spells out some of the marketable resources that I mentioned earlier.
Thank you. Can you estimate about how many annual staff hours are spent implementing partnerships from beginning to completion?
I really can at this point. But to be honest, once you really start and you have a formula, it really does not take that long. Right. And then after a while, if you really have good partners, you're really just doing the same things over and over again each year.
Exactly. And then hopefully some of that news spreads too, that it worked out,
Absolutely.
You might even hear about it like, oh, I heard you worked with this car dealership. So yeah, we want to be involved. How do you give the Friday freebies? Do they have a unique code in their version of the newsletter, or can you see a list of who opens it and choose a random member?
Yeah, we include a link in it. And so it goes to a special email address, and that's how they opt in. And then the following week we announce the winner and then mention with the new winners. Awesome. We are just about out of time. Is there any other partnership you want to mention that you didn't get to before we close for today? Just wanted to mention that car. I'm most proud of that.
Where do you recommend a library starts that isn't as large as your library? So if there's people listening in, likely who are at a small library with 5 or 10 staff, who may not be in a big community or at a capital, where do they start with this? I think I would try to really find something that that is really big within your community. Is it a county fair? I would start there, because that's going to give you a good bang for your buck initially. And that may be something that you can continue to do each year. I would try to really find one big thing that seems to be something that really brings the community together and they really engage with it. And there's usually something. Wisconsin is kind of known for their festivals. We have a festival for everything. So I feel like almost every small town has something they're kind of
Absolutely.
known for and proud about. So I love that, starting with the big thing that people know about. Trenton, thank you so much for all of this information. As Jean mentioned in the chat, the slides and recording will be shared likely later on today or tomorrow. And thank you for all of your participation and great questions. So we have another session coming up at 10:30 with Angela Hirsch. And we hope to see you at that one. If not, we hope you have a great rest of your day, and so long.